So from my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do it.
Beloved, great people of God, it's always of a great honor to come your way. This is the Insight Studios, and you are on the Virtuous Woman's program, a program where we talk about issues of life concerning women. It can be pregnancy, it can be parenting, it can be our health, anything that will help us to better our lives for the future. Wondering why I have a co-host today? Yes, today the CEO of the Insight Studios is joining me, my head, my Lord. He's joining me for this session because it's a session where we are going to share. Remember last week in our session we talked about at a point there came the words sharing is caring, and so we are here to share in the experiences of this great couple that we are going to talk to or to have the discussion with. It is said that to have the full value of joy, you need to share, and so we are sharing. Yes, marriage made easy. That is our topic for today. Marriage made easy. Is marriage really easy? I know it depends on a lot of things. It can be the choice of the person you made, it can be the stage in which you are if you're already married, and it can also be how you are working it out. Thank God I am not here to be answering the questions. The great panelists here or the great couple here are going to be the ones to answer the questions. Yes, we are going to talk about marriage made easy.
We just got married few days ago. We still don't even know what we are doing, right? So somebody need to help us. I mean, if you are married 3 weeks ago, like we did, I mean, you need help. Sorry to cut you.
Don't worry, you are my co-host, so you can do anything. Yes, just as wine gets better with time. That is the best description I can give to the couple we are going to talk to today. They have gotten better with time. They can be called the fine wine. Yes, when you see them, they are so sweet together, and I cannot have enough of my mommy. We were talking about her right before we came online. We cannot have enough. She is so sweet, and we know it is because of the embodiment of what
she's been receiving.
She's been receiving. We know Daddy has a part in it.
Definitely.
Daddy has a part in it. That is why they have grown to become a fine wine. That is, they have gotten better with time. We are talking about marriage made easy. And so we would like to welcome our couple. They are the founders of the Living Grace Chapel in Italy, Brescia. I will not do much of the talking about themselves, but they will give us more and more. That is what we are here to do today. And so help me welcome our Reverend Eric Donko and Lady Reverend Juliet Donko. Great men of God, great woman and man of God, you are welcome to the Virtuous Women's Program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It's an honor to be on your platform. We know it's a platform and a mechanism by which you reach your audience, and I think it's one of the best that we can think of when considering sections like this. God bless you and give you peace. Amen.
God bless you too. God bless you too. We will dive right into it. We want to know our couple for today. We want to know them better. We want to know everything that you don't know about them. Today you will know. But before we go on, if you are watching us, if you're already a family, we welcome you. We would like you to share the video with somebody, because we are going to learn about how far they have gone in marriage, and I hope it is going to bless you too. And if you are new on our page, we say you are very much welcome. This is the Inside Studios, where we learn and unlearn to show ourselves approved. Yes, you can share the video so that it will be of a blessing to somebody out there. We are talking about marriage made easy.
Yeah, wait a bit. So that you do one thing, we say we learn, we unlearn, then we relearn, right? So the things that we were doing that we thought there was knowledge, the Bible said that there's into which are light, but we didn't know that it was darkness that we call light, right? So the things we learn, we unlearn them whilst we relearn. So that is what we're going to do. So especially if you come married fresh like we do, we're still on honeymoon. We just started. We don't even know what's on the street. We're still on honeymoon. Or maybe you've gone a little bit and you have challenges. Everybody do have challenges. Those who have gone ahead, they have definitely something that you can pick and nugget that could make your journey much easier. And I think it's okay for us to welcome the great man and woman of God. And Papa, please, may we know who they are, if you won't mind.
Well,
yeah, I'm Reverend Juliet Donko, as everybody knows me to be. And I got the surname from my lovely and awesome husband, Eric Donko. Yeah, we have been together for some time now. It's quite a long time. And this is what I can say about myself. That I was born and bred in Kumasi, Ghana. Ashanti New Town, Ashtown precisely. And from a man who was from the Ashanti royal family. And I have lived in Kumasi. The most of the years that I spent in Ghana, I lived in Kumasi, because that is where I come from. And I schooled in Kumasi. Everything that I did it in Kumasi. My mom is also an Ashanti from let's say, Dentra, from Dentra, Brasi, and we have lived in Offenso. For as Offenso as our hometown, Pantakesi. And this is who I am. I am a daughter of a man who has lived in the palace.
Wow.
Lived his life in the palace. So I was brought up in a palace life, you know, from kings, queens, and princes. That has been my life. So by the grace of God, we are Methodist, you know, we were raised in Methodist, confirmed in Methodist, schooled in Methodist initial stages, you know, from the elementary, from the Methodist, and while we were growing up, because of life challenges, my mom took us to some churches like spiritual churches, you know, like the one I can remember is the True Church of Christ, and the founder is my own father's nephew, and we became part of the church for quite a time, and from there, when we were growing up, the Lord by His own mercy connected us to Himself, to know Him better. We knew God, but we got to know Him better. Why I dedicated my life to Jesus at the age of, when I dedicated, I really truly dedicated my life, I was 19 years.
Wow.
At the age of 19. I was always in church, but to become a true believer, if I am not mistaken, is when I was 19. That is when I dedicated my life to Jesus totally. So this is how far that's got.
Merci. Sincerely, mommy, you are too the principess. I'm not surprised. That for sure. No, you sincerely true principess. Like I always tell my wife about it. There are women that are a lot of people, and some of the most of them they are like me. They easily fall off. But it's special to have people who are so sweet that you, in their expression, I think you should write a book anyway. The reason is because the message you write to my wife, we read it and then we talk about it. We tell a lot of people they write straight messages, but when you write, you can read, you read your messages, and there is so much true sentiment, true love, a person that so genuine, so real, that you could read out of the messages that she writes to my wife. And to me, it's very interesting. So I'm not surprised you were raised at the palace. Sincerely, you're truly a princess. And from your heart, I see the sweetness. Therefore, my wife is saying, no, you are saying too much. That
is ready to talk. That's right.
Sorry, Papi.
Thank you very much. Mommy has said her best. I was also born and raised. I actually started in Accra as a little boy. I came down, but it's been many years that I left Accra. I think 66 years around the time that Nkrumah was, kicked out of power. It was around that time I went to Kumasi to be with my mom, because my father was also always on transfer, so we actually lived in Kumasi, Amokom to be precise, in those days. So I attended St. Paul's Rubakali School, and I think that is where my religious lifestyle took place. I actually at a point, I think in 77 thereabout, 75, as much as I remember, 1975, I wanted to become a Roman brother.
Wow.
So, 75, 76, I wanted to become a Roman brother. So I actually joined a monastic group that was then started, by one Father Thomas Mensah. Yeah, he's now been got to do with the Lord. So I started for a while, but I realized that wasn't my portion. But then, being a Catholic, I didn't have much knowledge of the Christ that we talk of now, But then, so around the time, I think I backslided and took my portion in the world, as we all know. I actually started secondary school at Anglican Secondary School, Marcy Anglican Secondary School, popularly known as CAS. And then, subsequently left because of financial constraints. So, I had to double through some seasons of, being at home and stuff like that. But the Lord, being merciful, reconnected me back to education when I got converted. When I got converted, a whole lot of things, took place. So we started 2 weeks ago on the subject, walking in the Spirit. The first 2 weeks I dealt with what we lost when we got out from the garden because of the sun. And so today I started on a series on 3 other aspects of what we gain when we come into the faith. And the first is redemption. So I actually experienced the redemption and the restoration. The second aspect is restoration. That's what we're dealing with next week. So restoration brings us to the place where we actually started off. It's not a rewind, okay? It's not a rewind, but God in His mercy takes us to the place where we will be restored to what that we lost. So I think one of the things that I lost was my relationship with God, and then my purpose in life, and then 3, the education that has to push me to get to know certain things to today. So I got restored to my educational, lifestyle again, and by the grace of God, I did Bible courses. Eventually, ended up in the All Nations for Christ Bible Institute in Nigeria under the leadership of the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa. So that has been our background, and by the grace of God, we've come this far. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
We actually have two children, together. Okay, we actually have, as most of you may know them, Little and Rubina. So, out of them, we have had got grandchildren, 5 of them now. Right? So,
wow.
Then who we are, yeah.
5 and more to come.
Oh. Is there 5 and more to come? That's a prophecy.
Wow.
Yeah.
We thank God. Then I will say that it is said that the kind of marriage you have depends on the choice you make. So let's start this journey.
Before you ask a question,
okay,
sorry
don't worry.
I think I read a little about the Archbishop Benson Idahosa, but I've not met anybody who attended the school except I met this great man of God. And the reason you could know that he went to the school is not just because he said he's going to the school. I'm not going to the school because he says a lot. Anytime we discuss, we have any Bible discussion, his examples are always from the place. And you see, sincerely, I just want to affirm that sometimes you hear people, when you know where they come from, there's a certain level of honor that you should accord to the people, because you know that they are not ordinary. They don't hail from normal men. They hail from incredible men, and that to me is a plus. It's really, really a plus, because that school stood out on its own years ago. It's true that you can hear a lot of it, but those days it's a school on its own. And to be a student from that school, that really means you are a born for the world. I mean, somebody say you are a born going somewhere to happen, and that you wait to see that. Bless you, Papa. Sorry.
Don't worry. We want to know about how it all started, how long you have known each other, how long you have been married. Your first encounter with each other, how did it all begin? It's been a very long time.
Yeah. It's true. We actually, my father had lived in a certain house in the Ota Kumasi. He moved to Bantama, and then we also needed. We have always lived with mommy, okay, because of where she lived. Daddy was always going around on transfers, and so mommy decided to be Kumasi so that she could probably take care of us. So they agreed, and then we established Kumasi. So we at that particular moment needed a place to live, so we transferred from where we were to Otafo, where Daddy had lived there. So eventually, mommy got that place too. So my brothers and mommy had moved there. So one of the days, my brother came to me and said, "Look, you better come to Tafo." I said, "I'm not interested in that place." He said, "There is this lady there. If you meet her, you know who back again."
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That was of my brother. And we were just around 19, 20 years there. So eventually when we met, my wife, mommy had then, we're just some few months apart from our age. So, and I can specifically say that it's just around 40 years as we are talking now.
Wow.
Because as I did my calculations way back then, it was some time between what do we call it, 22nd, either 23rd and 24th of October, 1981. It was 3 months or some time before the 31st December of 1981, if you remember. If you may not don't have an idea of that date, yeah, that was when Rollins did. So we had already met then. And then I quite remember one night I wanted to go to the disco, and it was like, look, it was my birthday at first, and she was like, "No, you can't go out because of the thing, the cool." And I was trying to resist, and then she overpowered me, so I stayed. So if you didn't mind, that has been the beginning of our journey. And I quite remember that day when we sat outside on a staircase. We sat there. I can't tell the exact time we started talking, but our conversation took us into the middle of the night. Early hours of the morning, because the dew had already fallen and began falling. So as much as I can easily pick that day, and it's so vivid in my eyes. I sat behind and she sat in front of me, and just talking. Wow. By the time it was almost morning, so we had to bid goodbye to ourselves, and then she went to a room, and I also went to my place, and that was it. She actually was also living there.
I guess the escorting was like mommy escorted daddy, and then daddy escorted.
We did something like that. We did it around the road. Yeah, you are right.
You are very smart.
Right?
Probably, I am not sure whether it's a confession that she's making herself.
She's actually telling us how it works. We stay quiet, and then the other one makes another discussion.
And we were going up and down throughout the night.
Sat down, and then we ended it. It was around 1 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. Because in those days the dew starts around that time, and because it was getting to December, the weather changes. Yeah, the dew was falling. So I think it was showers of blessings.
Wow.
Wow.
Actually, I wonder, I'm just imagining how mommy will look by then. 90 years. Because if now you look.
She's looking like this.
I wonder how the teenage years were.
Yeah. Wow. God has been so good. We know mommy and daddy are so grateful for how far God has brought them. If you are watching us and this couple has been of a blessing to you, you can just comment in the comment section. Tell us how you feel about them. Show some love for them. This is Reverend and Lady Reverend Donko, who is sharing their marriage. How far you know today is 24th, right? So you know why we are doing this today. They are celebrating their togetherness, their union for over 40 years. Wow.
People fall off, Papi, they fall off in weeks. I mean, weeks, but to be able to stay together for 40 years, that secret we need to know that, but I'm sure we're going to get there yet. Because we need to write that down to use it.
Of course, you can go ahead. You want to know the secret behind your union? What has kept you together up till this time?
Well, if I should say anything, for me, when I saw her, I heard somebody say something recently on I think WhatsApp status or something like that, and it made meaning. It was very meaningful to me. It has been one of the undergirded, principles that we've been exercising all the while, but we didn't know it was, and that is when you come around any person, especially a man getting around a man, it is not just the beauty. The wisdom and the intelligence, the peace she displayed. The wisdom she displayed, the intelligence, the durability of her expressions, and when we are talking, when we are conversing, you see the real wisdom behind all that she says around that time. So it was like, that was one of the things that caught my attention. And then I saw a sister in her. One of the things that I saw that actually glued me to her was the fact that she was very intelligent, number one, and two, I had this sisterly affection for her. So ours was not just like, going in for a girlfriend sort of a thing. It was, this is a sister. Because my mother gave birth to 4 boys and then 1 lady, and she was, far above us. She was, I think, the difference between me and her 6 years. She was already married even while we were young. So it was like I've gotten a sister, and that bond also led us into becoming something like a bonded friend. We share things that under normal circumstances we wouldn't share with anybody. We talk so freely and so frequently, and that was it. And I think when we also met, we just immediately began to form this bond because we clicked so much. There wasn't this kind of hesitation that, she knows everything about me and I got to know everything about her. The ones that I think she needed my advice and then my counseling, and, I stood there for her, and she also saw, I think she also saw some things in me, and that was that, this is the person that I have to work with. So I think from there, I saw intelligence with her, wisdom, and then two, I saw a sister. We became friends. That friendship thing actually held us. I remember sometime if I have food and I have to eat and she's not around, I can't eat.
Wow.
I'll wait till she comes and then eat together. And then it's not like, she's gone to the other side. No, it could be hours, and then, before we then eat together. If I'm not there, she also waits. It was not something that, wait for me till I come. No, it was something that, actually was a natural birth in us. And I think that actually bonded us to have that affection for one another. So that was it. We happened to be in the same house, these are some of the things that we also have to be careful. Let me put this across that. And normally when I'm preaching and the youth, I tell them that if you are in a relationship, don't just take advantage of one another. A woman can take advantage of a woman, or a man, and the man can also. And most of the time, boys takes advantage of the girls, because girls are vulnerable, and once you get to know that about them, you will have to build a protection around them. That is what I think I did, and she knew that this is somebody that she can't just let me. Yeah. So
wow.
that is
Then talking about taking advantage. I have heard lots of great men of God talking about their marriages, how they met, how married, like how everything took place. You could hear them usually say, especially the men, they express by saying, I had nothing, it was the woman who did everything. I had only one trouser, we were sleeping, we were having only a mattress to sleep on. It was the woman's parents who provided this and that for us and all that. Great women, men and women of God, they always say that. And I ask, because you are talking about advantage in our age, would you, I don't know whether it happened to you or it was the same for you, but would you, as a daughter, if I come to you and I say, I've seen this young guy, he's into ministry, he hasn't gotten a job to do, but I foresee that it will be okay, would you allow me to say yes, or would you assist me for me to get married to such a promising, maybe, I don't know, I've not seen, but it is God directing, a promising young man? I think he doesn't have anything today, but would you accept?
I certainly will. I'll tell you why. We actually did not start with I've seen a lady and let me go and pray and ask God. Okay, we didn't start from that point. This was my girlfriend, and I was a boyfriend. That was where we started. But along the line, we got converted. And we actually didn't know much. You know, people think that so far as you are together and then you are going to church, you are married. No. A man of God came teaching. Okay, now I'll tell you why we say we are 40 years together. Whether you want to call it a married bond from that scratch, there's no problem. I'll tell you why. A man of God was ministering, and then along the line taught that if you are living with a woman whom you are not legally married to, when you talk of legally married to, that is that having not gone to the parents and have this exchange, pay the price and have this exchange, and the parents granting you the go ahead into the relationship. In fact, in the Akan tradition, Ashantis in particular, when you meet a woman, the parents wouldn't even encourage you to go and marry outright. They will actually tell you, go and live together for a while and see whether you are compatible or she's the woman you want to be married to. And let me cut this also in that, for instance, in the Methodist Church, as much as I know in Ghana, especially in Ghana, they wouldn't compel you to wed. You may be married, go to the parents, do the necessary things that need to be done, and then later they will encourage you in your old age. All right? Then you go to church and bless the marriage and whatnot. But in our setup, like the charismatic and the Pentecostals and the Evangelicals, we encourage you do the right thing from the scratch. We didn't do that. We didn't know that. So when we got converted, we had already been involved already, and I think we had a child too. And so immediately we separated. I called her one day and said, look, where we have come now, we are now children of God, we are Christians. Actually, in fact, I think it was a Sunday we had gone to be baptized. And on that same day, I called her and said, listen, this is what we have done. We have committed ourselves to the Lordship of Christ. We can't continue this way since legally and before the church, we are not married people. Let's separate. And so we separated. It wasn't like separating for 1 month or 2 months. It took us 5 years before we could come back together.
Wow.
And that was the most tedious time of our lives. I think at one particular moment, the parents called her and said, look, this boy doesn't have money, number one. Two, he's becoming a pastor. Okay, I was then in Bible school, so they called her and said, listen, so think of how things are going to be tough for you. The father said, I have so many chiefs under me. Let me talk to any of them whom I see prominence with, and let me give you to him to marry. And she said, no, I want an Apia. That's the only person I know. So I will tell you, if you have seen somebody of have said, no, I don't think it would be possible because we didn't know. And if there had been anything that was a constraint to us that we didn't surmount or overcome, we would have been ashamed that we didn't do that then. But we were so much bound to the extent that it was practically impossible for us to separate ourselves. Because how can you see your sister and leave her behind? How can you see somebody that, and let me chip in this, that I'll still come to your point. I have my mother whom I so dearly loved with my life. I have my sister who any good thing at all, talk of a woman, talk of a job, talk of anything at all, my sister will want to give it to me. Everything, my sister. So I have this. And then she came my way. It was like my protection for her was just like I would do for my mother and then my sister. So there was no way I was going to let her suffer because, we have now become born again and I can see new girls around and so on and so forth. Look, there was no need for that. So we have to stay put. So if you are prayed and God is leading you to stay with that person, you go ahead and do that. It is not the leadings of God. And it's just a matter of affection because of the beauty and certain qualities that you can see in the person, and God is still telling you, be alert because of certain things. You will not all the alert, and then you go in for it. You may cry tomorrow. So I will counsel you, first of all, to seek the face of God for his go ahead. If it is a go ahead, you must go ahead, and if it's not interested, please you back off. Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
Yeah. If it's a go ahead, let it be a go ahead.
Amen.
If not, then you back off.
Mommy has something to add to it.
Let me chip in here. Something that my dad told me. I remember when I first took him to go and greet my dad. My father is somebody who is very, 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 very lovely and very sensible man. And he told me once that, look, all my sisters have gotten involved in marrying chiefs and princes before. It was with the exception of myself, My father told me that once they were just conversing about marriage, we were very young. And this one was saying, I'll get married today. This one was saying this. And I said, I'll get married to a pastor. And they were all burst into laughing. Like, hey, pastors doesn't have money. Pastors, their shares are faded. The back of their shares are faded and all that. And my father said he told them that they need to leave me alone so that I can choose whoever, if I grow up, I want to marry. So we have, as my husband said, these chiefs and these princes around who are also looking for beautiful young ladies to marry. Any chief that comes around my father will be asking of his daughters, this one and this one, and my father would say that don't go here because he knew I have already had this in mind that I will get married to a pastor. So when I took him to go and greet my father, somebody would say that you will be panicking because he didn't have money and he was a young guy. So when I took him there, he just admired him. He said, "What's your name?" He said, mentioned his name, Nanapi, and said that you are my uncle because my father's uncle is also Nanapian. And he said, okay, do you love him? He said, yes. He said, I have given her to you.
Wow.
She is your sister. She is I have given her to go. I give you my blessing. By then, we had not even dedicated our lives to Christ. So whatever my mother was saying about marriage, is well to do or who can bring in something, support the lady, take good care of her daughter, and then be able to support the family as well. But because of who I was at that time, very, very shy looking young girl, very sober, and I was very, very respectful. So whatever my father said, I clicked in my mom's mind and said, look, let's leave her to choose whoever she wants to choose. So Nanapia, everybody in my family knew that he was my friend and my brother, because I've been moving with him everywhere that he goes. I remember once he went to a part-time, he had a part-time job at OSA, Omnibus, New Plan. And while he was at work, I'll be sitting there waiting for him to close. So that when he closes, we go home together. And this is how close we were together because of the friendship. So what I will add, what he said is that if my daughter or my granddaughter come and say, Grandma or Mommy, this is a guy I've seen, and in spite of the background and in spite of what I need for my daughter, the man I need for him, I want him to be around my daughter or my granddaughter, is somebody who loves God, who is a God-fearing, and who is ready for my granddaughter or my daughter. So it doesn't matter, I don't know where God will take that person to look at us. That now God has blessed us so much that we are not in need of anything. We trust in God, we depend on Him, and He is supplying our needs, blessing us. Look at the people.
Jesus, you know, if you look. strength.